Hey everyone, this is Jose. I'm with Alvaro. We're both from Integrated Projects. We're going to be exploring Decentraland and SandBox today. I'm going to be asking Alvaro a ton of questions. I know we've had a chance to walk around these worlds, but as more building owners, operators ask themselves, what's the value of this? Why should I be paying attention? What's the economics behind this? How do we build on this? What does it look like? Who's joining in? All of this stuff. This is going to be a kind of a crash course on what's going on. And I guess we'll start with Decentraland, Alvaro.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get started with the Decentraland. So let's start maybe seeing their marketplace so we can understand what's happening inside, and then we'll dive inside the platforms and explore, right? So here we are in the marketplace. So right now, the first things we can notice is that we have a whole economy based on lands and wearables. So right now, if we start browsing, we can see the different prices of the lands and the wearables. So we'll start with the lands, which I think it's a pretty important one. So we have a total of 70,000 roughly of total parcels in the platform, and then right here, the green box, what you see, it's a public space. So those are public spaces, and then the blue, the highlighted, it's available lands, right? So those are for sale, and you can find them in the marketplace, right? So they're ready to transact. So if you click in one of those, then you can get to the marketplace and see the availability. You can see the price of the land, and then you can buy it, and then essentially get that transacted into your wallet, right? So one important thing to notice, we see the first thing to notice is the sizes of parcels, right? So that's an actual parcel, this small square that you see here, right? And then when you see bigger boxes, those are states, right? So these are merged lands that are becoming something bigger, right? We'll dive in the platform, and then we'll see some of the sizes, and we'll do a comparison with SandBox. But for now, this is pretty much the public map, right? Let's jump into the platform and let's see it, right?
So what you're loading there is kind of like a local, like you have to download it like an exe file to join in the game.
Exactly. And right now, anyone can access the Decentraland page. They can download the client, and they can log in either as a guest or with their wallet. So anyone has the same access to the platform, right? So you get that downloaded to your computer, and you should be able to run into the game, right?
Gotcha. And as we wait here for it to load, so when you say connect your wallet, this game essentially can be played for free? It's asking you to connect your crypto wallet as a way to identify who you are.
Exactly. So the wallet just works as a key to know who you are, right? And then what assets you own, either a land or a collectible. But essentially it's just the key to get inside the game. You don't need to pay anything to play it. But then the whole economy is based on buying lands and wearables.
Gotcha. So
And
it looks like here we're in the kind of some like starting point where everybody launches into the world.
exactly. And then you can see, so these are this is real people that are joining the game. You can see their profiles. You can also see if they own anything, if they have any wearables. So as you can see, this guy, yeah, he owns wearables. He owns different things that he's using in his avatar. And you can add friends. You can also talk through the chat, and you have a microphone, so you can talk with a microphone as well.
Mm-hmm.
And let's actually go in here so we can see some of the avatar settings. So if we go to the backpack.
So this is kind of like my dummy avatar here you created.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a version of Jose in this digital world. And right here, you can change body, head, right? So you can change some of these traits. You can change clothes as well. So these are the ones that come by default and
Right.
essentially the free ones. But then later we have an economy based on wearables, right?
hmm hmm
Yes.
Right. I suspect that, as more like, glasses and shirts come out and more exclusive things, like you're going to have certain reputation points if you have exclusive,
Exactly.
clothes and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You do have already like some versions of what Gucci and Prada are, but just in the game, right? And we're gonna check those in a bit, right?
hmm
So the map is right here. So essentially, if you enter in the map, you can move, right? So you can visit any space. So right now we're located in the Genesis Plaza. So if we want to go somewhere else, we can just click on it and then just jump in, basically. Right here we have the Explore tab, which is going to show us some of the main places in the platform, events, anything going on. We can find it here, right? So if we go places, we can see some of the most popular spaces in the Decentraland, and then we can also see events going on. So we can see festivals, DJs, cinema, yeah, a lot of things, right? Casinos, karaoke night. So there is plenty of those. If you click on it, you can see how many people are signing up for the event. So you can see how many people are joining, and then you can see the date, right? We can find more information about it. We can go to the Discord. We can go to their website. So this is actually tracking us to the web, right? So let's jump in the game, right? So right here, we're going to land in a public space. This is Genesis Plaza. And right now I'm just gonna walk around and show you the place. So if I just keep moving one side, I'm actually moving in the public space, right? So once we cross, I don't know if you see the top of the screen, once we cross that line, we're out of the public area. So right now we're entering a street, which is still public, but then we got a first square right here, right? So we see those 4 blocks together. So those are 4 pieces of land, right? And this right here, it's a piece of land. So someone owns this little square with this park, and they have essentially their own, like they can create anything here. Like it's up to them, right? It's their land. They can create their own set of rules. They can build anything into those lands. I mean, that's a basic example, but let's,
So this is
yeah.
this is an interesting point. So we're near Genesis Park, so that's kind of like where everybody starts, and then the plot's literally right next to it. You have these ginormous advertisements, but then you also have like a tiny little public park that doesn't seem to be doing anything. Now, can I assume, was that an early investor that's just chilling on that space right now?
Yeah,
Like I'd have to imagine that this plot of land is worth something.
yeah. So this land, the minimum of this land would be like $15K, more or less, and that's the way this owner is deciding to use it, right? I mean, you're free to do anything with your land, right? If you want to have a simple park, or if you want to have, like, this is another example. Look at this. So this is another person who used his land to create advertisement, right? So if we go around here, we're going to see essentially someone paid that landowner to run an ad, right? So need an SDK help to hire me, Neo Cyber ETH, right? So you can click in here, and essentially that's gonna take you to a place where you can hire someone, right? So we can see a different way on how these people are monetizing. And then we see FTX, which it's a really massive cryptocurrency exchange, right, in the US.
Right.
So yeah, this is a way on how owners are just essentially creating monetization through ads, right? People are paying for these ads.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Wow. So currently we're just kind of running around here near Genesis Park, and these are all private lands that we're looking at.
Yes, exactly. So this is another one. Looks kind of like a gallery as well. I mean, we're just walking randomly anywhere, but at least it gives us a sense to what people are doing with these lands, right? Either finding ways to monetize by creating ads or just creating their own headquarters or space. The important part here is that anyone has like any possibility to create anything, right? So I guess this is like a sculpture as well, but I think this is a public thing.
This is super interesting. So have there been examples of just like major developments? Like I can imagine like an entire street maybe developed with like certain retail, or maybe a certain company bought up a whole street. What are examples of like companies making use of this? I'm just curious.
Yes, yes. There is some, right? So let's actually try to go around and see other places. We do have some companies taking over and doing some things in land. So let's check it out. So we do have the Samsung store, which we have seen already, but I was looking for another place. So let me see what can we find. Actually, let's go to one of these spaces, which is pretty crowded. This is the ICE Poker. So let's jump in there.
So we're at a casino right now.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a casino.
Mhm.
And as you can see, the way and the behavior of the whole game changes. Once you enter a LAN, you can create interfaces, right? And those interfaces, they can change on each LAN, right? You develop that into your LAN. So I guess they created a different experience. We can see a leaderboard for people playing poker. We can, I mean, welcome to free to play. We agree, continue. And then we see, yeah, eyes wearable required. So see this, right? For you to be able to play poker in their space, you have to buy some of their wearables. Like, meaning like if you don't have the shoes or if you don't have the jacket that they offer, essentially you don't have a pass or you don't have an access to their land. So that's another way of finding monetization as well.
Super interesting. Yeah. So in this case, ICE Poker has managed a way to kind of create an economy. So essentially, to even walk into that place, you need to actually buy some of their merchandise to be considered.
Exactly. Exactly. And I guess the functionalities and what I'm seeing completely changes, right? If you don't have that wearable, then you don't get to experience the place as these people are experiencing here. Maybe they're playing now, right? So yeah, so that's a smart way on how they're programming or developing spaces to create value, right? So
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. So, and again, we're on a private land here, so we're also. I don't see any other buildings around here. So this essentially this developer. Oh, okay. It's looking like a
okay,
Taco Hall.
yeah. So that's one of the things of the Decentraland, right? Like you have to run, you have to move for things to appear. So that's just a way for the Decentraland to protect themselves from crashing the game, right? But I think they're working on that, right? Like I'm not a fan of like things just appearing out of nowhere, but this is something they're working on, and it's been one of their challenges, right? So I guess this is the same space. This is a really massive land owned by this poker company, right?
Oh wow.
So this is a play and earn, right? You have to get a wearable, you have to play, then you earn something called ice. That might be kind of like a token, and then you can exchange that for money, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So let's go somewhere else just to keep exploring. So I think we're in a corner of the full map, and it's I think it's a massive space there. So
Right.
it's better
And
building.
this is interesting. So as I look at the map, I'm seeing different colors. There's blues, there's greens, there's looks like streets, and there's dark grays. So um, the blues, I think you had mentioned to me before, that's kind of representative of maybe like early investors that kind of took up plots of land early.
Exactly. So we have the greens, the grays, and the blues, right? So just to explain, right? So we have parcels. These parcels are owned by anyone. You can check the marketplaces to see if they're available. The blue ones, they're from early investors and people who joined the platform at the very beginning. That's why they have these really massive spaces. And then the green ones are public spaces, and the light gray it's streets, right? So this is all streets.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm just looking at a piece of parcel here. So give me an idea of size and like what can be. So if I buy a plot of land, what does that mean? How big is it? What can be built there? Are there limitations in like the real world with zoning? Is it just kind of a free for all right now? How does that work?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So let's first check the sizing, right? So I did a comparison in between the sizes of SandBox and the Decentraland. The Decentraland, it's a 16 by 16 land. So I would say, yeah, one parcel, it's a pretty small space. And here we can see it, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. So right now, this square we're seeing here, it's a piece of land. I think up until here. Hold on, let me get a better example, right? So this building, this right here, this square, all of the light brown,
Mm-hmm.
everything I'm walking around here, that's one piece of, that's a parcel.
That's a parcel. Okay.
That's just a parcel. So we can see how small it is. So one of the themes we're seeing from people developing and building in the Decentraland is that they tend to go up, right? So most of the buildings, they're like a 2, 3, 4, 5 levels, because that's the best way for them to essentially grow, right? So they're going up instead of extending like to the sides, right?
Right. Interesting. Are you aware of limits? Like in other words, can you go 2 stories, 200 stories? Like what is there? How do you
Yes.
go through that? Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
understand that?
So going up, I'm not 100% sure if there is a limit. I think there shouldn't be a limit, right? But then to the sides, yeah, you all like you just have the 16 by 16, right? And this building we're seeing, the pink building we're seeing just in front of us, it's a 4 parcel building. So we can see it on the map, right? So that's 4 parcels together.
Yeah.
Just to understand.
Right. And what is that building? I'm just curious. Like, is that just someone's home, office, store?
Oh yeah.
I see a Twitter logo. Is that Twitter's offices?
Yeah, I know. I think this is the so this is the mana, the Decentraland logo, right? And so this is a Twitter from someone, right? So this is linking to someone's Twitter, right? So this person, it's basically living their Twitter on a public space, and anyone can jump into their Twitter, right? So.
Gotcha.
And apparently this looks like like a house of someone who bought this land and decided to just put like random art on it. Yes. And maybe NFTs.
These are all just like NFT artworks that they've bought.
Yeah, I think so. So we can check here. Yeah, this is all NFTs, right? So this is owned by this wallet, not for sale, sold for 0.35 Ethereum. You can see it in OpenSea as well. So yeah, these are NFTs, right?
Very cool.
Yeah. Yes.
So this is someone's like private gallery, essentially.
Exactly. It's their private gallery on the Decentraland. Exactly.
Gotcha.
That's a good comparison. But yes, just to put it in perspective, I wanted to show you Sandbox, right? So we can see some of the main differences, at least on the size of a land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a quite massive difference. So I have
Right.
Sandbox right here. So let's do a quick overview and see the most important things.
Right.
So
Just to understand, so Decentraland, we got through that just through their website, right? I think it's what, decentraland.org.
exactly. So
And then here,
Decentraland.org, and then Sandbox would be sandbox.game. Exactly. So they're both accessible. Like you can join these platforms right now. You can download their clients, sign up with your wallet. If you don't have a wallet, you can create it. You don't need any money to enter these platforms. They're free. And they're both really similar in terms of how their economy works. They both have a token. On Sandbox, we have Sand as a token, and then in Decentraland, we have Mana. So they're both economies driven by tokens created in the Ethereum network. So,
gotcha.
let me sign up. Oops, let me see. Yeah.
So so it seems like in order to play the Sandbox, it's similar to Decentraland, where we have to connect a wallet for it to recognize who we are.
Exactly. So the wallet works as a key, right? So the wallet is a way to essentially provide the platform with who you are and what you own, right? So the lands that you own are going to be registered into your wallet. So it's a decentralized wallet that connects to the blockchain and verifies who you are and what you own in the blockchain, right?
Gotcha.
So everything is storage in a decentralized way, right?
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, so let's dive into Sandbox here. So it looks like they got a marketplace as well.
Yeah, they do have a really similar marketplace. We got some big names in Sandbox as well, which I wanted to show you right now, so we can see some of the partners, right? Snoop Dogg, Walking Dead, Adidas, Dead Mouse, Atari, a lot of venture capitals, Liberty City, SoftBank, a lot of people behind the project as well, and most of them they own lands here, right? So just a quick note, Sandbox it's on an alpha. They're supposed to be out by next month, from what I read, but essentially, there is some limits to where you can go now. So you can go to certain public spaces, which we're gonna dive right now. And just going back to the marketplace, it's a really similar marketplace to Decentraland's. We do find avatars, wearables, and then lands as well. Everything you can buy within their marketplace, but you can also buy within OpenSea, right? So if we go on OpenSea, we can find all of these assets, right? We can buy them from Sandbox, or we can buy it from a third party, right? Like we can buy them from someone who owns it already. So this is the place where we have Snoop Dogg's house, which we have already seen in press releases and we have seen all around. If we go in the maps, we can do a quick comparison of how it looks compared to the Decentraland's map. And the first thing we can notice is that we have much more lands, right? So the Decentraland is around 90,000 total lands, parcels. And then Sandbox, it's around 170, right? Roughly. So we're talking about like almost double the amount of lands, right? If we see it, it's a really similar structure. We have the small squares being parcels, then we have bigger places being called districts, and then we do have kind of like a community, right? So people, all these people, they're voting for their communities and they're taking decisions on their district, right? then the white parcels are available lands to buy in OpenSea, right? So if we click on here, we're going to see what's available now to buy. So if we click here, we got a land sign in. Okay, I have to sign in with my wallet just to see some of the pricing, right? But yeah, but that should be taking me to OpenSea, right?
Yeah. So some of the initial observations as I'm looking at this map, right, is unlike Decentraland, here I see lots of plots of land, but I don't necessarily see streets. I also see like very big logos, right? Atari, I see Warner Media somewhere in there. I see Snoop Dogg, the Smurfs, and what I imagine is the bigger the more plots of land you buy, I guess the bigger your logo could be on this map. Whereas the smaller green ones, I suspect, are either privately owned.
Exactly.
Yeah. How does this work? So are the streets the kind of the gray, the dark gray areas, or are there no streets in this world?
So that's a good point you're bringing. And the way how you move in this platform, it's through portals, right? So in every side of the square, you have a portal that gets you to the next land. So that's the way they're doing. And then if we see the comparison with the Decentraland, is that you can actually walk anywhere within the same map without having to load like a new scene. And the only cons that we see from that is that things load slowly, right? So you have to walk, and then buildings start appearing out of nowhere, right? But to your point, we do have like big lands, and then we have like these massive images, like what we see here with Snoop Dogs. If you see small parcels, they don't have the capability of adding images, which I think that's like in a marketing from a marketing perspective, that's something really positive, right? Like you can be Atari and then put your name this big into this public map where you have thousands and thousands of users use it daily, right? We got names like Atari. We have The Walking Dead, Snoop Dogg's, Steve Aoki, which is a DJ. Yeah, Warner.
Yeah, so let's dive into this. I do have to jump here in 5 minutes, but what are we just able to plop down on any one of these lands?
What's that? Can you repeat?
Oh, are we able to kind of plop down on any one of these SandBox lands?
Exactly. So just the same as the Decentraland, we'll be able to walk and jump into any public land. So these are all public, right? But that's if you, as an owner of the land, decide to make it public, right? So you can guarantee certain access, like just the example we saw in that casino where you had to wear or had like a wearable to basically get certain functionalities of the land. You can do something similar with these lands, right? Like you can guarantee access to a certain amount of people. You can close it for a private event, and then you can lease your land daily, or like that's a possibility, right? And people are doing it. If you go to Discord and the communities of these two platforms, you see a daily basis request of people like trying to get a land for a day or 2 days and paying money to actually get the land, right?
Super interesting. So I guess as we wait for SandBox here to load, I'm curious, like as an investor, I'm trying to figure out what is the best platform to take seriously, right? Is it SandBox? Is it Decentraland? Obviously, as any investor, we'd have to understand like what are the teams behind it, what are the investors, what's the roadmap, what are the benefits? Is there a world where you could be a citizen in multiple metaverses, or do I have to choose one and just double down on it?
Yeah.
So these are some of the basic questions kind of running through my head as we're
here. Yeah. So that's a good question, and I think for now we're seeing multiple metaverses, right? But we're not actually seeing a unified place where essentially everyone builds. Everyone is building in a blockchain, right? So it's this. Maybe we're using the same blockchains, but the way we're using technology is completely different, right? So Sandbox is doing an interpretation completely different to the Decentraland. But yes, just going back to what's a best place to invest, I would say the Decentraland and Sandbox, they're really similar, but they do have a different traits in how they're making their platforms. We're seeing the Decentraland to be a super decentralized place where it's operated by a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. So essentially, it's the community taking decisions, and it's the community doing votes for changes to happen in the place. And that has a set of cons and pros, right? So from the research I have been doing, there is certain cons in the Decentraland where changes they don't happen quickly, right? Like there is a lot of things that are happening and they can be quickly fixed, but they're not happening because of the voting, right? You need a lot of votes for something to happen. And then what we're seeing in Sandbox, we're seeing a private company creating their own metaverse with an integration of a blockchain and cryptocurrencies in their own economy, right? But they do have a solid and a strong roadmap. That's one of the positive things that I'm seeing, right? So I guess it will be hard to speculate and to know what's going to be better in the future. But I do think that they both have a difference, and they both have a strong future ahead for sure.